The Government of Eswatini, through the Minister of Tourism and Environmental Affairs, working with the Minister of Natural Resources and Energy and the Global Water Partnership as an implementing partner, have been implementing a readiness project aimed at mobilizing gender-responsive climate finance for Eswatini. The project focused on 4 key components, which have been successfully completed in the past 2 years of implementation. The first component looked into the development of a private sector engagement roadmap aimed at ensuring that the private sector contribute in the implementation of the NDC actions for the country. The second component looked into the development of a gender action framework, which was aimed at ensuring that gender considerations are integrated into the climate change project pipeline for Eswatini. The third component looked at assessing technology needs for the water sector. For the same reason, a technology needs assessment was conducted and a financing strategy developed for the prioritized water technologies. The last component of the project now looked into the development of 3 concept notes which will be submitted under the Green Climate Fund. The first concept note looked into water, energy and food, and the second concept note looked into climate information and early warning system. And the last concept note looked into water, sanitation and health.
Regarding the private sector, in ensuring that we engage them, we have developed a strategy which looks into 4 pillars. One being ensuring that we have an enabling environment that covers policy as well as other required pieces of legislation that might be required. This could include a framework where we can be able to ensure that the private sector participates in climate action through all available tools, including carbon markets and other financing tools and supporting tools that the private sector might need to be able to do the work that they need to do. And then secondly, we need to ensure that we are able to create awareness, and there is a lot of awareness creation, and we're very grateful that even as we are developing the strategy, the private sector is already coming into play. We're already having engagement processes with them, some that are purely initiated by them. We have different indabas that are taking place across the country raising awareness, and this is something that we need to continue working on, supported by the strategy.
The gender analysis has helped us understand and identify the different gaps in the policy frameworks regarding issues of gender and climate change. It has also helped us to map areas that requires more strengthening, more investment, more resource mobilization, as well as issues of capacity. Capacity among our policymakers, capacity for beneficiaries, especially in projects undertaken at community level.
The water sector in Eswatini, like all other sectors, is prone to the impacts of climate change. As the Joint River Basin Authorities Project Board, we are tasked with the responsibility of decentralized water resources management. Owing to that, we have been tasked to lead a project under climate adaptation, which is funded by GCF, that aims to help us with developing technologies for climate adaptation for the water sector. We started the process with a lot of stakeholders under the Eswatini Water Partnership to come together and define issues that we could do to try and adapt to climate change. Going through research, we looked at the interventions that we could employ as the water sector to adapt to climate change. So from the research, we came up with about 100 or so technologies, which we brought to a stakeholder consultative process to kind of go into some kind of a multi-criteria analysis to prioritize those technologies. So our different stakeholders looked at the maturity of the technology, the cost associated with the technology, and also the potential uptake of that technology in Eswatini, which led us to at least 30 technologies, which ended up in our list of prioritized interventions. Doing this work is really important for Eswatini and the water sector at large. With climate change and its impacts really increasing, and we are observing those detrimental impacts, it is important for us to have a way in which we will deal with these things. Our climate adaptation technologies and also our financing plan will really help us as a country to know where do we target our help.
Eswatini, we are most vulnerable to climate change. That means we have incidences of floods, we have incidences of drought, we have possible incidences of disaster, which then impacts on the infrastructure on the ground. So with regards to the concept notes and how they aim to address these challenges on the ground, we have WASH concept notes, which aims to ensure that we are able to build climate resilient infrastructure, where we are able to have this infrastructure to promote good health and hygiene practices. When it comes to the WEFI concept notes, we are aiming to have adequate water supply and have a look at the institutions that are assisting us and the institutional framework where we have institutions assisting us in terms of water management, water use, as well as allocation of water, having worked with the Ministry of Agriculture, the Ministry of Tourism, and others to assist us in terms of ensuring adequate supply of water, but also catering for issues of energy and food security. When it comes to the climate and information early warning systems, we are able to look at the system on the ground, which is our dams, which is our weather patterns, to ensure that we're able to raise awareness in terms of pending disaster, but also have a measure of preparedness and communication to the nation at large in terms of the weather patterns on the ground and the impacts that we may see from high flows or high temperatures, or in terms of the changes in the river trend, whether we have low flows, and the impact that it has on the food network.
We are grateful to the Government of the Kingdom of Eswatini for the continued support in ensuring the successful implementation of this project. We are further indebted to pass our gratitude towards the various national stakeholders who have been consulted and who has informed the successful implementation of this project.